Sometimes Ryan cries. Daddy says, babies cry to tell you something. What was the baby
See
telling
if
you?
this thing is working. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure as a post commander to welcome you to VFW Post 3982. And we're here for a special event, and I think everybody's going to enjoy it. If you would all please stand, face the flag, and with me do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two. Please be seated.
Baby, right here.
I'm going to take a minute or two and introduce a few of the people from the VFW. We have Steve Lassiter, sitting back there somewhere. He is our junior vice commander for the state of Virginia. And his lovely wife, Judy. She is the, I wrote it down when I find it.
District 2 President.
District 2 president. District 2 is, what do we got, Dougie, 6 posts in, 10 posts in the District 2.
10.
And we have Mary Richards. She's a past
Department President.
past department president. And Chris Casera, she's the District 2 chaplain. And we've got Doug Keller, past commander, District 2. Presently, what are you, trustee now?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
And we got Joe Brady, who's the past commander. Bill Sowers, the senior vice commander. Junior vice commander.
That's right.
And then we got Gunnar Good Johnson. He's passed everything. He never passes the chow line. And I think that we've got our chaplain back here, Bob Duval. Anybody I forget? Anyway, we all welcome you. And at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. John Bindle. He is going to give us a little entertainment by singing the God Bless America. And he's a 5th generation. Starts out here with Demetrio Raphael Martinez, his grandfather, U.S. Army World War II POW taken to the Bataan Death March. Received the Silver Star for bravery. Waldo James Trelow, the senior grandfather, Private Army World War II. Lloyd Trelow, Private Army World War II, Pearl Harbor. Elgin Chick Treloader, World War II, Pearl Harbor. Ronald Treloader, World War II, Pearl Harbor. Waldo James Treloader Jr., E7, Master Sergeant Army, Vietnam, 2 tours, Green Beret, 20 years of service. And Ronnie Kyle Treor, he's a cousin, and currently an E5, E5 Master Sergeant. I'm not familiar with Army rating. And Marine War on Terrorism. And William Eugene Bindle, that's his brother, currently an 05 commander, Mustang LDO, Operation Enduring Freedom, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and War on Terrorism, 30 years of service. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Bindle.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, our home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
Absolutely great, thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Keith Hubbard. What? I gotta get the bigger print, General, excuse me. Lieutenant General Keith Hubbard. There you go. Deputy Commander of U.S. Joint Forces Command. He is the grandson of a World War II veteran. He's the son of a World War II veteran, a brother, father, husband, and grandfather. He is a light infantryman with special forces experiences who has been privileged to serve the last 35 years of his life as an Army officer. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Hubbard.
You're only supposed to stand and smile when I leave. Master Sergeant, with your permission. Thank you for the privilege to enter this location. As we discussed, I'm not a member of the VFW yet.
Lauren, take care of that.
But let me at least describe from my foxhole what you and your organization represent. And it goes to some of the words in your inspiring rendition. The veterans of foreign wars, the bond we hold in common is the same bond that we have with our young men and women in the armed forces today, and that is you leave your home. Often to places unknown until you land, often to places that if somebody said find it on a map, you couldn't. With a language that you don't understand, with a culture that you can't comprehend, and the people aren't necessarily appreciative of your presence. And you leave everything that is near and dear and sacred to you. Your family, your friends, your cat, your dog, your home, your apartment, your fiance, your wife, your husband, your children, knowing that you may not return. That's a powerful bond. That's the sacrifice that the men and women who come in our armed forces today clearly understand and have understood since 9/11. That they will, in the very near future, face that challenge. That's what your family here represents to me. The fact that you recognize that, you have served selflessly in that fashion, you have survived, and you continue to be a role model for 58-year-old youngsters like myself that for my entire adult life I've worn a uniform. So I thank you for that, and I consider it a privilege to be here. I am an infantryman. I do believe in ambushing people. But normally I don't do it to friendly forces. So, Master Sergeant Moody, you'll have to forgive me, sir, because I have willingly been a part of a conspiracy. Though it has been an act of grace and love from your family. Because you are our honoree here today, and I will have the privilege to present something to you on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia. But let me, if I may, sir, talk about you a little while. You know, I come from, I wouldn't necessarily say a military family, because I'm the first career military in my life, but as our generation, I mean, my grandfather went to World War I as a doughboy, left the farm in Illinois, went to World War I, never knew if he was going to come back, 4 years later came back. My father, off that same farm in Illinois, went to World War II, 5 years later came back. I'm the only individual in my family to make a career of it, and I entered West Point when there was still a draft. So I didn't go to West Point to escape the draft, but there was a draft. I had a draft number, and then you retired in 1976. I'd been in our Army for 5 years, and I'd been a commissioned officer for 1 at that point in time. So I recognize how quickly the time goes. From your roots in a small town in North Carolina, and I suspect you're accustomed to pseudo ambushes because your lineage says, gee, you went in 1936 with a cousin, a family member, to the recruiting station, and then all of a sudden found yourself in the Army. Sort of got caught up in the moment. And we understand what positive influences family members can be on us. And you served in a variety of positions, but what I found to be absolutely logical was you used the skill sets that you had accomplished as a young man. I mean, you enlisted at the age of 17. As a young man, you had certain skill sets that were recognized, and then the Army asked you to continue to perform those skill sets to the extent that the patch that you wear on your right shoulder for the Army, your combat shoulder, indicates that you were in Europe, and when people recognized that in fact the role you performed was in support of the Supreme Allied Commander at that time, General Eisenhower, who later became President Eisenhower, that your skill set was to allow the general a moment of departure, of disconnection, by providing him an opportunity through your skills as a movie technician to provide to General Eisenhower films, albeit in a very dangerous scenario, because as you recognized very clearly through your experiences, I mean, all generals are walking targets. I mean, I don't say that in a frivolous fashion. It's just simply a fact of life. Some people view that it would be a successful mission to kill or injure a general or potentially an admiral. I mean, I know I'm in a Navy town. I live on the Navy base. The admirals are very disappointed that I'm lowering the property value, but okay, I got it. You know? And in this uniform, sometimes people call me admiral, and I go, hey, I'm honored to be an admiral, but the Navy has higher standards. I'm just an Army general. But you recognized as you were doing what you were told, as all good soldiers do, much like sitting here, you were told to sit here without a recognition or comprehension that it was in your honor. Why General Eisenhower asked you to show him films And in fact, where he was located was a high-value target to the enemy. They would have loved to have been able to destroy his filming location, of which you would have been a part of. But this opportunity, as you showed him war films, and he said, hey, look, I'm living a war film. You don't need to convince any of us in this room who have been to combat the horror of combat, the sacrifice of combat. So if I'm going to try to disconnect mentally for a moment in the opportunity of a film, let it be something to allow me to do that. And you allowed him to do that. You have served in a variety of positions over your last 31 years. Your town of Webster, and I find it sort of ironic that there's a town named after the dictionary that only provided an elementary education up to the 11th grade. I mean, it doesn't seem fair. But you attained the education level that was offered in your town, which stopped shy of a high school diploma. And your family has listened to your inappropriate regrets, I might add, sir, because we should be presenting you a doctorate in life. You didn't have your high school diploma. I really view life that we're all students of life, that hopefully none of us reach the duty position or the age or the arrogance that we think we actually know something. I run into this all the time in the military, and the military has a terminology of subject matter experts. And whenever somebody says that to me, I just stop them. I say, look, I don't consider myself an expert in anything. I have experiences. I have opinions. I have perspectives. But when somebody tells me they're an expert, I consider them not only uninformed, but arrogant. Because you would hope that every day with the privilege to interact with human beings, we learn something. You would hope that at the same time you can be a student and an instructor in shared experiences. So you clearly, with your youthful 92 years, with the privilege to be married for 60 of those 92, with 2 children and their families, you have been the professor, you have been the instructor. And much like I find myself now, you become the student all over again in this circle of life. So thank you for setting the example for neophytes, for amateurs, for youngsters like myself. I would love to have had my daddy sitting here, who is 4 years your junior. I would love for him to be here now to witness the respect in this room and the love of your family to set this ceremony for you, because they're your fingerprints. I mean, if you ever wonder about your legacy, look at the people around you. Look at the people who are willing to spend the one resource they'll never get back, their time. Their time with you. I mean, I'm not here because I'm bored or I don't have other things to do. I'm here to try and demonstrate to you how important you are. What you represent to me, what you represent to our nation, and to honor the request of your granddaughter to have this ceremony in honor of you. So, sir, with your permission, I would be honored to present on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia your honorary high school diploma. And it reads, World War II Veteran Honorary High School Diploma, awarded to Frank Weaver Moody. by the Virginia Board of Education in grateful recognition of the personal sacrifices made to ensure the safety and security of our country and all mankind, and in acknowledgement of a lifetime of learning and achievement that has enriched our community and our country. Master Sergeant, if I may, sir, have the honor to present this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, the floor is yours. Not my podium.
Right.
Well, first of all, this was taken all by surprise for me. I want to congratulate this post. This is the largest post I've ever attended. And I congratulate you for that. I'm from a small place in Silver, North Carolina. And first of all, my military career started in 1936, like the General said. And I wasn't issued a truck, a bunch of high-powered rifles and stuff. I was issued a horse and a mule. And they told me, said, Moody, you take good care of that mule. Said, it cost the government $500. Said, we can get all the men we want for nothing. And I found that to be true. And over a period of time, I did stay 3 years in field artillery at Fort Bragg. That was the largest field artillery post in the world at the time. And it was rough. We did all of our maneuvers on horses and mules. Even carried our kitchen on pack saddle. And the only trucks we had were to carry the oats and the hay for the animals. And after bivouacking and going and marching all day, the horse had to be taken care of good, watered, everything before we retired. But after leaving Fort Bragg with honorable discharge, I joined the reserve and stayed in that till World War II broke out. And at that time I had one of the best jobs I ever had in my life at TVA building the Fontana Dam. But I had the greetings to come back to the military. So I did go back and stay through World War II. And I guess I'm considered Yankee because I left the United States up here in Virginia. And I left, come back to Boston. And I feel like I'm a good Yankee. And I was called Yankee all the time I was over there because they say the Yankees are coming. So I smiled and took her. And outside of that, I did have a good prospect in field artillery at Fort Bragg. I come out of there as an expert field artilleryman. But when I was taken back in, they put me in the medics and sent me to Camp Barkley, Texas, which I went through basic training again, got a new serial number, all this stuff. And went back in and was imported, started with my family for about 2 weeks on the way back up here. And it took me 31 days to get to England at that time on a LST flat bottom boat because there wasn't room for me on the Queen Mary. But I was surprised because I wanted to ride that big ship. But when I got over there and got talking to some of my buddies, said, well, you better be glad you was on that LSD. Said, we stood in line for chow 3 times a day, all day. So we did eat and sleep and live good with the LSD members, and it was a rough ride in the wintertime on the North Atlantic. But anyway, we landed over in England. Well, I was just on the replacement depot. Most of you know what that is. When they need men that's been replaced, well, they pick one out of this replacement depot. So they fell the company street out that morning, called out Moody. I've lost my name tag. And I fell out, turned everybody else loose. I said, Lord, what have I done now? They said, pack your bag. Said, you're going to Ascot. So I got on the train and went to Ascot. And sat down there with my duffel bag. The lieutenant came by and said, you want to go out to Dallas? I said, I don't know where I'm going. I showed him my orders to SHAEF. He He said, I don't know what that is, but we'll find out. So I went out and stayed a week or two with SHAEF, with the 8th Air Force. I thought, boy, I could be in that, because they had parties and stuff were going, everything good. That's so good when they flew out on mission. So one day he came back in, said, I found where SHAEF is, said, get in the Jeep and we'll go. So at that time, that was when General Eisenhower's headquarters was organized, Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force. So I went in reports to Major Barkley, and he said, well, you're going to be General Eisenhower's motion picture projector, PA system technician, whatever. And that scared me to death. I said, well, but I said, again, I'll be pretty good, because if I'm around the 4-star general, I'll be here in Gunspar. But I found out that who was after, because they was bombing the train out. Everywhere we went. But anyway, to make a long story short, we did go through World War II that way, and I showed all the, they put the reconnaissance planes out, made pictures of the war, and brought them back, and I cut them up. And showed them to all the general staff. I met all the big wheels over there, Stalin and Churchill and de Gaulle, and that old hand shook hand was a lot of big people. And well, I won't bore you any longer much. But anyway, I know this is Navy country through here, and it was Navy down in Florida when we came up here. But I'm very grateful to the Navy, because they took me over there, and more grateful that it brought me back. So glad and proud that everybody showed up. And one more little thing, I'd have my shoes shined and all that, and had this little boy had on my uniform. He said, I bet you killed a lot of people, haven't you? And I said, well, everybody has killed a lot of people. I said, everybody that was back here making the airplanes, sending the food, everything over there to help the war, I said, you was doing me killing me. I said, as far as shooting somebody right in the face, I said, didn't do it, but I said, I feel guilty that I helped win the war. That's what it took. And whatever it did take to win it, well, we did it. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you have to admit, this has been different, and it's been a lot of fun. And Master Sergeant, I salute you and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Going to get it signed up to this post shortly. Ambush him again, work on that for me. At this time, I want to thank once again everybody for coming. It's been a good day, and I think we had a lot of fun, and I wouldn't mind doing a few more. So we will close the meeting. If anybody would like to have a libation, the bar is open. And we have food in the back, and even got coffee, Colonel. So anybody that would like to partake is free to do so. Thank you very much.
Careful, Lauren.